Peace, beautiful souls. I decided to make this video to speak about my experiences with domestic violence. So basically, I'm gonna start off with my first real relationship. I was dating this guy and I had just met him right after my grandmother passed away, and I was working downtown in Conway on 34th Street in Broadway, and I was basically trying to get my life back together. I had went through a traumatic experience where I was stabbed by this young lady, and which pushed me to the path of wanting to change my life and just, you know what I mean, get out of the streets and do better for myself. I was 17 years old going on 18, and basically I was trying to, you know, change my life and do better and just find my happiness and my peace again, you know. So I met this guy. He was an older guy, but at the time I didn't know how old he was because he lied to me about his age. And, you know, basically he asked to take me out to dinner, and we basically end up meeting up, I say probably like a week or two later. But before that, we had a connection because I was talking to him on the phone, and and we just connected. Like, he loved music, I loved music, and we just really had this unique super connection, you know. And he was telling me about his experience with spirituality and how he felt like he was possessed, and it caused him to be hospitalized. And, you know, I'm like, wow, that's bizarre, you know. And I kind of had a similar experience, but it wasn't in that retrospect, you know. So basically, you know, we connected and we started dating, and we just had kind of like a weird relationship, you know. I found out he lied about his age. He lied to me and said he had children, and he really didn't have children. And I guess just from there, from not being honest with each other, opened up doors for the relationship to not be stable, you know. He cheated, he lied, but he never was like physically or verbally abusive. What I learned was I had bad qualities too within myself, and when I get upset with him, I used to yell and scream and just be angry, and he used to kick me out because he didn't want to deal with the energy I was giving him. And I didn't understand why he always was putting me out. Like you putting me out, why you putting me out? I couldn't understand that my patterns and my behaviors wasn't the right way to be, you know. And what helped me understand that is because one day we got into an argument because he cheated on me. It was my birthday, and the girl that he was cheating on me with called my phone and was saying that, oh, he doesn't want to be with you. He tells me that he loves me. He wants me to have his baby, and all of this stuff she was saying. I knew she wasn't lying because she knew my name. She knew how old I was. She was like, you're a little girl. You don't understand what he needs. And it was so dramatic, and I just cried my heart out. I was upset. I was angry. Like, it was so traumatic. And I was mad at him. And we was arguing in the movie theater, and then we left the movie theater and we got to his house, and we still was arguing, and he was trying to kick me out, and I was angry, like frustrated, and just like, I just started hitting him and fighting him, and he was trying not to fight me. He was like, just stop hitting me, just leave. And he called my sister on me. He called my sister, and he was like, yo, your sister keep hitting me. I told her to leave my house, to go. I don't want to deal with her. I don't want to deal with this. And he was like, your sister want to talk to you. Your sister want to talk to you. And he put my sister on the phone. And she was like, Cindy, you know you shouldn't put your hand on no man unless you're willing for a man to put his hands back on you. I know my grandmother raised you better than that. And if that man don't want you in his house, baby, you need to leave that man's house. And I'm like, you don't understand. He's a liar. He's this. He's been doing this. He's been doing that. She said, listen, I understand what you may be going through, and it's going to be all right. God is going to take care of that for you. Leave that man's house and do what you need to do for yourself. And that was the most powerfulest thing anybody has ever said to me. Although I still went back to the relationship, I heard and I implemented everything that she told me and she said to me. You know, I knew the relationship wasn't the best place to be, but it was somewhere that I was comfortable at. And I stayed in a relationship because I was comfortable there, you know, until I realized that I wasn't happy. Even though I wasn't happy, I didn't know how to leave. And the universe set me free because he was like, yo, I'm tired of hurting you. I'm tired of letting you down. I'm tired of disappointing you. He said, yo, I don't want to be with you anymore because I know that I hurt you and I can't give you the type of relationship I feel you deserve. And it broke my heart to the core. It broke my heart to the core. It broke my heart. And I didn't realize that I was holding in all of those emotions and all of those feelings that I went through. I was holding it all in and I just was hurt. And I couldn't understand why he didn't want to be with me. And I just kept finding more reasons to be hurt, more reasons to be hurt, more reasons to be hurt. So a little bit along, I'm going to speed the story up a little further a few years later, after I feel like I kind of let go of that relationship and allow him to move on. And I began to take steps forward to move on with my life as well. I met another guy who was my childhood crush, who I used to think about all the time, and I just wondered what happened to him, and he disappeared. And I just always wondered what happened to him. I felt like he was supposed to be my first love. I felt like we were supposed to get married and just live this extravagant life together. He just was like so fly and so unique, and he just had this swag where he could just talk his butt off. He could talk his butt off, yo. He had so much charm and charisma and just everything, you know? And I admired that. Like, I admired that in a man. Like, that, you know, to have that confidence and that charm and that uniqueness within him, like, that was power to me, you know? So basically, I seen him one day and he was like, you don't remember me? And I said, no. He was like, he said his name and I was like, oh my God, I remember you. He was like, yeah. He was like, yo, I asked my family about you, yo. I was thinking about you for years, yo. I was thinking about you. And I said, wow, that's crazy because I thought of you too, you know? And he was like, yeah. He was like, do you mind coming to hang out with me later? I was like, sure. Mind you, I had no life. I was sad, depressed, laying in the bed every day. I had no routines. I basically could say that I didn't have nothing to look forward to, you know? And I just was a sad, depressed individual, you know? So basically I was like, yeah, sure. Like, I was just excited to, you know what I mean, have somebody to speak to, like, you know? And he was like, yeah, come hang out with me. Come, you know, smoke a little herb and chill. So later on that day, I was waiting the whole day. I'm like, Dad, is he coming? I found me an outfit to wear. I'm like, is he coming? Is he coming? I was thinking about it the whole day. He came and knocked on my door like around 10 o'clock, like 10 o'clock at night. Was it 10 o'clock? Nah, it was like 8. It was like 8 o'clock. It was like, was it 8 o'clock? Because it was kind of dark, but it was definitely the summertime. Dad, yeah, it was like 9 o'clock, I would say. He knocked on my door. He was like, yeah, you want to come outside and chill and hang out a little bit? So I was like, yeah. I went outside. We chilled. This is when I still was living in Harlem in my grandmother's old apartment. And we went outside. We chilled by the little park. And we just talked and conversated. And he told me his story. And I gave him a little bits and pieces of my story because I wasn't too open with expressing myself at that time. So I was very like, my energy was closed off and I was very fearful of the world and opening up and expressing myself. You know, I just didn't have the words to be able to speak of what I was experiencing or how I felt, basically. And so we hung out and we basically hung out and talked and got to know each other a little bit better. And I liked him and we basically started hanging out from there. And he was like, he liked me, he was feeling me, and I let him wear my chain and all that. So naive. And basically he ended up going to jail. And he went to jail and he called me from jail and he was like, I needed $75 or something. His family had gave him money to bail out and all he needed was $75. And he asked me for it, but I was going through, how could I say it? Like, I was experiencing a drought with money. Like, I didn't have any purpose. I wasn't working, and I just didn't have it, basically, to give to him. So he asked me to reach out to people in our community to help him get out of prison. And I did that for him, and nobody was able to help, you know? And he was upset. He was angry. He was hurt that he did so much for people in the neighborhood or whatever he did, and nobody was able to help him. And I didn't realize that he was even mad at me because I wasn't able to help as well. And I didn't realize that he was harboring those emotions until, you know what I mean, later on down the line, you know? So long story short, I was feeling him hard because we wasn't even really in a relationship. We just was like really good friends, and I just liked him a lot. Like, I really had like real deep emotions for him, basically. And I basically hung in there while he was in jail. He only had to do probably about, I don't know how many months, but like 8 or 9 months. And I basically held him down during that time. Not financially, because I didn't have money like that, and my mind and my ability to be able to go out there and get it was not there because I was struggling mentally, you know? But I still was able to support him because I didn't have anything else to do. And the least I can do was be a good person. And when he called me, to answer the phone call, you know? And then eventually I went to visit him, you know, and when I could put a little couple of dollars, and I started making a little bit money from working with my best friend at the daycare center, I was able to, you know what I mean, look out more, you know? So basically, long story short, he eventually came home and we hooked up, and basically it was an okay relationship, but I realized that he never really spent time with me. Like, he always was out on the run, he always was doing him, and he never took me out. He never really said kind things to me anymore. And it was like he was always gone. And he had this way about him where he was always bragging and boastful about what he do and what he got, and he used to just get fly, never helped me with anything, never said, here's something for the bills, or here's something for food in the house. Like, the most I felt like he was able to do was to get me high and keep me high. And I don't mean crack or anything like that. I mean like marijuana. Like, the most he can do was to light me up on weed. So he was basically living with me, and I just was getting depressed, like really depressed, really sad, really jealous of, you know what I mean, not being able to spend time with him. And I just couldn't understand why. I'm like, yo, why you don't want to be with me? Why? And you know, when you ask the universe questions, things eventually reveal itself. So basically, I went on the internet on his page, and I was looking through his page, and I seen a young lady said something like, oh, chilling in the hotel room chilling in the hotel room with my boo, can't wait to go OT. And I said, wait, what? I was so hurt to find out that he was hanging out with another woman. He was taking her and traveling with him, like, and it hurt me to the core. And I called him, and I just was saying so many hurtful things and just cursing him out, like just saying so many hurtful things. He was like, why you mad? You mad because I'm laying up with my beautiful woman with my hands all over her ass? He was just saying so many mean and hurtful stuff to me. And it was so hurtful. And I said, you know what? God is good. And I'm not going to allow this to tear me down, because I remember the empowered words and the things that my sister always installed in me, my sister and my grandmother. And I said, it's gonna be all right. And I said, yo, you get your stuff and you leave my house, and don't you ever come back. And right after that, the next day, he got arrested again. And crazy, the next day he got arrested again. And he was like, oh, you doing voodoo on me, you doing this, you doing that. And I knew I wasn't doing no voodoo on him. And I was a strong believer in karma. And that's just what it was, you know? So he sent his cousin to get all his things, all his stuff that he left in my house. And we separated. From there. And he I guess he did a little time in prison. And mind you, I no longer lived in the same place. I moved to a different apartment. So, basically, what can I? All right, so basically, he went to jail again, and he went to jail again. And I guess within that time with being in jail, it opened his eyes to see that, you know what I mean, he wasn't the most kindest person to me, you know? And he realized that he hurt me, and, you know, and he realized those things. So, you know, me being naive, I took him back. And basically, he tried to be, when he came home from jail, he tried to become a better boyfriend. He tried to become a better boyfriend. And, you know, he started doing more things because I was expressing myself. I told him, like, yo, you never do this. You never take me anywhere. You never tell me you love me. You never show me affection. And I just started expressing that to him. So in his own little way, he tried to figure out how he can do that, you know? He tried to replace the chain he lost, and he bought me a chain. He bought me sneakers, and he was trying, you know? But he just didn't know how to be who I needed him to be, basically, you know? And eventually, things got chaotic again, and he was running around the streets, and he ended up going to jail again. And this time, it was like he was angry at me. Like, I don't know. It was because I don't know if I was being too righteous or being too, I don't know what it was, and I'm not going to sit here and try to figure it out right now because I want to complete the story. And he went to jail again, and basically I just didn't feel like I wanted to deal with that relationship. I didn't want to be with somebody who just was in and out of jail all the time, who didn't respect my feelings and my emotions and all of these things that I was going through. So he basically was like, yo, you got too much baggage with you. He was like, all you want to do is stay in the bed and sleep and be lazy. And he like, I want a woman that gets up. I want a woman that goes to the gym and work out. So I figured that I would implement those things that he wanted in a woman. I started going to the gym. I started eating better. I started working out, and all of those wonderful things I started to do for myself because this is what he said he wanted in a woman, And I felt like I wasn't that. So I felt like I had to become that in order to be a good woman to him, And basically, when he came home from prison again, we got back together, and he was asking me to do inappropriate things that I wasn't comfortable with doing, like selling my body for money and just things I wasn't comfortable with doing, and it wasn't who I was. And I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. That's not cool. Like, it was like he was trying to pimp me out. And it made me feel very uncomfortable to be around him after that. You know what I mean? So it was like he was living in my house, but I just didn't feel comfortable around him. And he used to just say things like, yeah, have you ever smelled somebody that was pregnant and they body stink like really bad? And I'm like, no, never experienced that before, like he just was saying things that was just like, wow, why would he ask me that? And when you ask questions, why would a person ask you that, eventually it's gonna reveal itself, you know what I mean? And long story short, he called me from somewhere downtown. He was like, yo, I'm downtown. Somebody's following me. Somebody's chasing me. They trying to harm me. He was like, could you help me? Could you help me? So I got in the cab. I jumped in the cab and I said, where are you? It was this project somewhere downtown that back in the days, me and my best friends, cousins, and childhood friends, we all used to hang out at. So I went down there, I met him, he got in the cab. I said, get in, what's going on? He started expressing to me what he was going through. Somebody's following him. He felt like somebody put something in his weed, and he wasn't himself, So we got home. He was like, oh, what is this you burning? What is this oil? What is this? And then the oil thing set on fire and started burning in a blaze. He was like, you doing voodoo? You doing voodoo on me? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing voodoo. And he just was going crazy, and he ran out the door to my neighbor's house, like, call the ambulance, help me. So my neighbors called the ambulance. I called the ambulance. I called his mom to express to her what was going on. And basically, we was in the hallway. I was trying to talk to the police officers, but they was being so mean to me. Like, I don't know what the heck was going on at that time. Like, they was being so mean. And there was one guy, he was Chinese, I don't know nationality don't really even matter, you know what I mean, because we are all human. But he was different from the other officers that was there. And basically, like, the other officer was like, look, ma'am, you have to get off the phone because we want to try to understand what's going on. So I told his mother, I'll call her back because the officers was being a bit rude, and I need to find out what's going on so I can tell you what hospital they taking him to. And basically, I hung up with his mom, and I started speaking to the officers and expressing to them what was going on. I'm like, he said that he feels like somebody, did something to him or whatever. So long story short, they took him to the hospital, and I just felt like after that he was never the same again. Like, you know what I mean? He was never the same again. And that was pretty traumatic for me because like we had like a really serious relationship with each other for years, and I loved him. I could honestly say I loved him. I felt like I loved him because I was learning how to love myself. So I feel like I loved him, And basically, yeah, that happened. And I don't think I really dealt with that. And I decided to focus up because I didn't understand what it was that he was going through. And I knew that I couldn't be stuck in that energy worrying and thinking about him all the time, So I started moving on with my life, going back to the gym, working out, trying to eat better, and really change my life. So before that, my sister always used to talk about this book she had called The Secret. Although I wasn't like really good with reading and stuff, and I didn't have I wasn't educated. I wasn't educated at the time or had any knowledge of those type of things, because at a young age, I just never wanted to be in school. And I became a truant because I was afraid of learning. I was afraid to learn. And basically, she told me about The Secret. Years later down the line, I came across the Oprah Winfrey Show. And she was talking about this documentary called The Secret. And basically, The Secrets is the laws of attraction. And that you can manifest anything you want in your life just by focusing your attentions on, the things that you want, So I started to implement those things that I've learned in the documentary because, like I said, I wasn't a reader. I only learned about The Secret because I purchased the documentary on DVD. And I watched that DVD every single day. You hear me? Every single day I watched that documentary. And it caused me to start changing my life. It caused me to start eating better, trying to do better, be better, and it was good. It was really a good experience. I can't even sit and pretend like it was bad. It was good. And eventually I met my child's father, and we was friends, and I could tell that he adored me and he really had strong feelings for me, but I wasn't ready yet to be in a relationship because the relationship prior to us getting together was a bit toxic, I would say. And I know what happened to him and all of the things that he said I've done to him, knowing that I felt I didn't do to him. But I don't know, at this moment. I'm still figuring things out. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. And, I don't know how he feel I hurt him, So basically, me and him became friends. And he just was strongly trying to push a relationship, and I just wasn't quite ready, and I just wanted to be his friend, And basically, we started hanging out, and just things started revealing itself. We was hanging out, he told me about his relationship with his kid's mom. And you know, he he just basically had a tough relationship with her. Here's the thing, right? I have a special gift where people just tell me things about themselves that they don't even realize that they're telling me about themselves. And I understand it next level because I have this inner intelligence where I can understand people's experiences. I know how to change those things, like, you know? So basically, he was telling me things about himself and that they separated because she was with another man. And basically, I found out that they wasn't separated, that they still was together. And she called my phone while we was together, and she was like, she was like, she was like, she was like, oh, you messing with my baby father? I was like, your baby father? Who's your baby father? She was like, she said his name, and I was like, I'm not messing with him, but we friends. I said, as a matter of fact, he's right here. And I gave him the phone, and they started arguing like, yo, why you calling her phone? Da da da. You made your bed. You want to be with that dude? You be with him. You driving in the car with them. I don't mean to tell a story, but it was like that dramatic. And she was like, what? She was like, where you at? Where you at? Where you at? And then next thing you know, I see a car driving down the block, like swerving out of control. And she jumped out the car and she started yelling and arguing with him. And he grabbed her and they walked away to the car like, you Seneca, you. That's who you are? Like, she's questioning me. I'm like, look, I don't have nothing to do with that. That's not my situation. Like, you know what I mean? And from there, I already knew that I couldn't trust him and I didn't want to be in a relationship with him because it was just like, that was already dramatic, you know? But long story short, we ended up being in a relationship with each other. We had a baby, and before we had a baby, it was already a abusive relationship. And I knew that I shouldn't have stayed in it. I knew I shouldn't have stayed in it, but I guess subconsciously I felt like I deserved it. I don't know. I don't know what caused me to stay in that relationship. But in a way that, but I learned a lot from it, you know? And, you know, it was very traumatic for me. You know, it was very traumatic for me. And basically, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to continue that story because I was trying to get to something. I was trying to get to how I ended up in the psychiatric ward myself, basically. And let's see. Basically, that was a traumatic experience for me. You know what I mean? I don't want to really talk about too much because it's like a lot of these situations and stories trigger people, you know? And I really want to stick to my story, you know, and what made me who I am, you know? And basically we separated or whatever, and I just was obsessed with him. Like, I wanted to know why he didn't want to be a part of my daughter's life, because I knew that we couldn't be in a relationship together due to, you know what I mean, things that, you know what I mean, we was going through. I knew that we couldn't be together, but I couldn't understand why he didn't want to be in my daughter's life, you know? What does she have to do with, you know what I mean, all of the things that, you know what I mean, all of the things that we was going through. And I didn't realize that I had a sick mind, you know? And I thought a lot of bad, negative thoughts all the time, you know, that eventually manifested in my life. And so basically, I found out why the relationship and he couldn't be in our lives. You know what I mean? I figured it out eventually. And he had started a new relationship, and I had popped up and I had popped up at his family's house, and as I was there, he popped up with his new girlfriend. And I was angry, I was hurt, I was trying to fight him. I punched the glass and hurt my hand, and it was a bit much. You know, it was a bit much. And eventually, I started bugging. I started losing it. I feel like I just couldn't control my thoughts anymore. And it was a bit traumatic. And eventually, I feel like I had a possession over me. Like, I just kept hearing, okay, let me rewind. He had came to visit or whatever. He had just got out of prison, and he had came to visit us. And I was just seeing things differently during that time. Like, my daughter was trying to show him stuff, and he just was so into his phone. He couldn't pay attention to anything that she was saying to him. And my neighbor from downstairs came upstairs, and she is very spiritual too. And she just seen everything. And eventually he left and went to wherever he went. And she said it to me. She was like, yo, like, did you see that? I said, see what? I seen it, but I wanted to hear what she had to say. She was like, did you see how your baby was kept trying to show him things and he just wasn't paying attention? And every time he showed her something, she got so sad, and he just didn't care about what she was trying to do. And I said, yeah, I did see that. And it broke my heart. It really, 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 really broke my heart to see and feel that he didn't care about her. And that's just, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be blunt, and I'm going to be sincere and very transparent. He didn't care about her, basically. You know what I mean? And it caused me to fall into an unwanted depression, sadness, anger, jealousy, hate, just all of these toxic and unwanted thoughts that I created in my mind. And I just was angry. And eventually, the more I lowered my vibration, I started tapping into things that just wasn't for me. Like, it was for me because I guess is what God and the universe wanted me to experience. And it's just, it was what had to be done for me to get to the point to where I'm at right now in my life. So basically, I started hearing voices. I was hearing die, 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 die. And I just couldn't control my thoughts. So I called my sister. I said, I don't know what's going on. I can't control my thoughts. I feel like I'm losing it. I'm going crazy. What is going on? I keep hearing things. I'm hearing stuff. And she said, you don't sound right. You don't sound right. And I said, what do you mean I don't sound right? What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't sound right. She's like, you sound like your brother. You sound like you bugging out. And when she said I sound like I'm bugging out, I said, I'm not bugging out. I'm not bugging out. I said, I need help. I need help. I need somebody to help me. She said, yo, calm down. I need you to calm down and think about what it is you're saying and what it is you're going through. I said, I can't think. Something is going on. I took my phone and I threw it to the floor and crashed it into bits and pieces, okay? Into bits and pieces, and shattered my phone. So now I'm stuck with my thoughts. I don't know what to do. I got a beautiful 2-year-old baby right here next to me, And I didn't know what to do. Like, I was afraid. I was hearing stuff. I didn't know what to do. I started breaking stuff. I knocked the TV over because it was like I kept hearing die, 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 die. I knocked the TV over, and this was the first time I ever really heard her say my name like that. She was like, "Mommy, what's wrong?" And I just was like, I gotta protect my baby. I gotta protect my baby. Something is trying to hurt me. I don't know what it is that I'm going through. Something is going on. I need help. What's going on? I picked my baby up and I ran downstairs to my neighbor's house that lives under me. And I said, protect her. Don't let them take my baby. Don't let them take my baby, please. Don't let them take my baby. Don't let them take my baby. And she said, okay, what's going on? Seneca, I never seen you like this. I never seen you like this. What's going on? And I was like, somebody's trying to hurt me. Could you please take her? Call my sister, call my family, call somebody for help, please. And she took my baby and I ran upstairs and I was like, I gotta protect my baby. I gotta protect my baby. And then I just kept hearing die, 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 die. You need to die, die, die. Sorry I'm saying it so much because this was the thoughts that was going on in my head. So I just wanted to make it stop. So I just started cutting my wrists. And I just laid in the bathtub waiting to die. And then I just had a vision of this lady who committed suicide and drowned her kids in the tub. And I said, oh my God, and I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm feeling anxiety by talking about this story right now. She committed suicide and I just heard banging on the door, like, Seneca, please open the door, open the door, open the door. My friend was banging, and then I heard the fire department and the police come. They was banging, kicking, and eventually they broke my door open, and I was laying in my own pool of blood. And basically, I'm gonna end the story here because I'm a bit overwhelmed and I'm feeling very nervous and a lot of anxiety is coming up. But I really need to get this story out and I really need to get it off my chest because I need to talk about the experience I had in the psychiatric ward. So thank you guys for watching. If you even made it this far, I thank y'all. God bless y'all for listening to my story. God bless y'all for y'all love and y'all support. And just thank you God, thank you universe, thank you everybody that helped me and that supported me on my journey. And I just want to say I love you guys, and peace, and God bless y'all.